Hi everyone, greetings for the day. And in the last episode, we told you as to how we can use astrology much better in our lives and the reasons behind it. We had given many examples. In today's session, we bring you the real facts and the real logics, which you might know, you might have observed, you might have missed out. Nevertheless, these are going to give you a great idea about the ingenuity of the science of this divine science and why we term it as a science. Okay. Having said this, a very warm welcome to everybody from Edu-Astro, and we have Deepak and Kabir today again, presenting you with some great facts. Hi Deepak, how are you doing today?
Hi Kabir, I'm doing very well, and thanks for the warm intro again. It's great to be back on this podcast. I have been looking forward to get back on this.
And for the benefit of all the viewers and the listeners, what you are hearing or viewing, we generally term it in a manner that this is a discussion available on video and podcast both. So we will take this discussion further. And before we move further, there is a very important aspect which I wanted to cover. See, Deepak, in today's lives, we hear astrology as a term very much, right? And many people who are watching the video or listening to the podcast at this point of time, they know astrology, right? But if you look at it, from where did astrology come into being? It came into being from the Vedas, and from the Vedas, it translated into different forms and shapes and different streams, right? But if you look at astrology, astro is the astral frame of things of this universe. Logy
Logos
means a science. Yes.
Logos. Yeah.
Right. Now, look at the difference between the Vedas and when we start translating these things into our own understanding. Our Vedas never said astrology as astrology. They always said this is Jyotish. Jyotish. Ish is my own self inside me, and Jyoti is the light.
The
enlightenment, the light. Right. So,
and this is kind of exactly what we discussed in the previous episode.
Correct. So this science is actually meant to enlighten ourselves and improve our ways of life, and thus it is called Jyotish. And here I would really want your inputs, because we have had some interesting discussions on this, right?
Yes.
Can you take our viewers and listeners through the Jyotish Shastram, what it means, and how we can understand it much further?
Sure, Kabir. So good that you brought this topic out of Jyotish Shastram, right? Again, Jyotish, we described what Jyotish is. And Shastram, as you know, it is science. So we always think that there are certain celestial objects that have been studied, and people just think that, there are certain planets and there is an effect on people. But astrology is actually an extension of what astronomy is. Astronomy is the science of celestial objects, right? Astrology is one step ahead of it. It is study of certain celestial objects that have a profound effect on us.
Yeah.
Right. So as you mentioned, this was, mentioned by our sages in Vedas in different forms. It was always encrypted. Okay.
Yeah.
So sages used to discuss nakshatras and in different forms. So nakshatras were represented in forms of the deities, in forms of objects that it represented. Those were mentioned in the Vedas, both in Rig Veda and Yajur Veda, if you see.
And at the same time, if you look at the meaning of the word Nakshatram in today's world, if you can tell about that, because our people, our viewers and listeners would be really able to understand a bit more, that what does actually Nakshatram mean?
Yeah. So Nakshatram, the word Nakshatram is actually a Sanskrit word. See, in Sanskrit, it actually means an object with that has little or no movement. Okay, that
Super.
has little or no movement.
Yeah.
Okay, so in Sanskrit, every object was named based on its properties. There is always a logic behind it, right?
Yeah.
So if you take our famous astronomers Aryabhatta and Bhaskara, our younger generation used to think that they were just few people who wore saffron and were talking rubbish around it. It's not
Yeah.
true. They had profound knowledge about things, and our sages have imparted us knowledge about these nakshatras, these 27 nakshatras, in in forms of the properties of each nakshatra,
Right.
right?
And here I would
So
like to add one thing. When you said, a nakshatram means the objects which have little or no movement. Got it. Now imagine anybody who is listening to us or watching this show, this discussion, they might be thinking that how can something not move when it is in the realm of the universe,
yeah,
right? Because everything in the universe is moving. It is not constant. It has been proved astronomically by the biggest telescopes which we have. It is correct. What it means here is that according to our theory of relativity, standing on the earth, the
yeah,
vision which we have for that asterism is,
yes,
shows us that it has extremely little or really
movement,
no movement. That's
yes,
it. That
that's
is
it.
how we need to understand.
Yeah,
Got it? Go ahead.
yeah,
We were talking about Aryabhatta and Bhaskara. Aryabhatta who gave
yeah,
us zero.
yeah. So the discussion, the knowledge about these nakshatras were given in different forms, right? So if you have these 27 nakshatras, so each nakshatra, for example, if you take certain nakshatras, right? You have Dhanishta, you have Jyeshtha, right?
Yeah.
Uh, there is an asterism which is represented by Dhanishta. Okay.
Correct.
It is called the Delphinus, right?
Yeah.
They said, they described Dhanishta as with a deity called Ashtavasus. Okay, if you
Yes.
closely observe Delphinus asterism, it is a combination of 8 stars.
Correct.
Yeah, it was always encrypted. They described 8 stars, and it was in a form of dolphin. They
Yes.
it's in a form of dolphin. Okay, so people born in this nakshatra possess the properties of dolphins. Like dolphins, if you actually observe them, are actually very happy, and they actually
Right.
move in a very rhythmic pattern.
Right.
Very rhythmic pattern. If you see Dhanishta, people think it is Dhan plus Ishta. In Sanskrit, Dhan also meant the rhythm.
Correct. And this is one of the most important secrets of Dhanishta Nakshatra. If you look at Dhanishta guys, people, they have an extreme great sense of rhythm. And when we say
Absolutely.
Dhanishta people, either you have your moon in Dhanishta, or you have your Lagna Lord in
Lagna.
Dhanishta, ascendant Lord, or your ascendant is in Dhanishta, or your sun is in
Yes.
Dhanishta, right? These are
Yes.
the four
Yes.
main things. They will have a fantastic sense of rhythms.
One such example, Jimi Hendrix.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. The world famous guitarist. He had a very
Yeah.
prominent Dhanishta. Yeah. Now, that is one example. Let's come up to Jyeshtha, right? Jyeshtha in Sanskrit, it means elder or older.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah. So the modern name of uh, Jyeshtha is Antares.
Hmm.
Okay. When you closely through major telescopes, when Antares was observed, they have found that the size of Antares is so huge that if it can replace sun in our solar system, it would expand up till Mars. Okay, that huge it is. Like sun is
that that
very tiny in
means
front of that.
that means Sun, Mercury, Venus, Earth,
Yes,
all
Earth, yeah,
will
and
be
also
engulfed,
Mars,
and also
yeah,
Mars will be engulfed. It is that
engulf.
big.
Yes, it's that huge. Okay, and we're calling it Jyeshtha. It is the older one, the elder one. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's almost at its end of life.
Yeah.
You see, yeah, that is, in that way they have always discussed about these nakshatras. Okay, And yeah, as you're saying, it's very old. Okay.
Correct.
And one person in history who was born in Jyeshtha was Yudhishthir in Mahabharata.
Yeah.
What is he
Yeah.
known for? What is he known for? The elder
He's the
brother.
eldest. He's the eldest of
Yes.
all Pandavas. And
Yeah.
everybody went to
And the
him.
Kauravas as well.
And the Kauravas as well.
Yeah.
So you are correct. Jyeshtha people, they always are at the forefront or the top of the ladder
Yeah.
in terms of either
Yes.
seniority or in terms of their age or in terms of their knowledge, whatever it is, they will hold a very prominent position. And it is so
Yes.
beautifully designed, it is so beautifully explained in one word, Jyeshtha. The
Jyeshtha.
only thing is that
Jyeshtha.
people need to understand that what does Jyeshtha mean and what does the asterism actually represent. You will be able to get a lot of more insights on that, which is fantastic.
Yes. Yes. So before we move on to the next topic, we also have Rohini Nakshatra, right? So
Yes.
our sages describe the story of Rohini. Like Moon has 27 wives. Okay. But Moon would spend most of his time with Rohini.
Correct.
Yeah. So there's a story, and if you look at an astronomical formation, there is a term called lunar occultation of Aldebaran.
Yeah.
This is actually what our sages are implying about Moon spending most of the time with Rohini.
Correct. Now, do we explain this or we ask our listeners and viewers to actually do some research on this particular aspect? You know, the lunar, we can actually write it
occultation of
down.
Aldebaran.
Yeah. So we can actually write it down and people can look at it or, you know, just go ahead and search it more on Google and everywhere. You will see it's so interesting and you will understand why our sages have said it already so many thousand years back.
Yes. And how did they even figure out without all these major telescopes, man?
Yeah,
I still
exactly.
do not understand.
Me too. I don't understand how, but I'm sure there were means and methods and something would have been there. But it is not easy to just make stories unless you know something. The only difference is that our sages were so intelligent, they used to put everything in the form of a story which everybody can understand.
True.
Rather than talking about the technical aspects wherein people won't be able to understand, because they use this knowledge for the betterment of the society and betterment of everybody. Right? That's why it is Jyotish.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Go ahead, Deepak. This is very interesting.
Yeah. So research has been going on all different 27 asterisms. Of course, there is Abhijit, an extra nakshatra that we consider, but we'll get to that in subsequent episodes about the 28.
Correct.
Yeah. So apart from these nakshatras, in our celestial bodies, there are other aspects which have a profound effect on us. Do you want to discuss more on that?
Oh, we should, because see, what happens is, we have spoken about nakshatras. Nakshatras are the base of the entire machine, right? But above nakshatras, there are other aspects which everybody needs to know. We have our rashis, we have our houses, the houses are there because of the Earth's rotation. Then you have the celestial bodies themselves who keep on moving and events keep on happening. And you have mathematical points, which are the points which don't have mass. The points which don't have mass. And those are also very, very important in our astrological predictions and everything, right? We should discuss about that. Let's do it.
Yeah. So the other celestial objects that have an impact on us is, as you just mentioned, Hura. What is exactly Hura? Hey, Kabir, it will be great if you can throw some light on what Hura is.
Yes, I'm just coming to the Hura. Before that, we would really want to talk about our one and only satellite, Moon.
Yeah.
Because you mentioned Rohini, right? And Moon stays in Rohini the most. Got it?
Yeah.
And does it means that Rohini is the favorite queen of moon.
Yeah.
It's as simple
Favorite
as that.
wife. Yes, correct.
Favorite
Yes.
wife.
Yeah.
Now, the bigger aspect to this is, look at moon from the aspect of a celestial object, and
Yeah.
look at moon, what it does to us. Moon controls water. Earth is majorly water, our body is majorly water. So there is a huge
Yes.
impact of moon on us, and moon is thus called the mind or the reflection of our thoughts.
Yeah. Hence the Manokaraka.
Hence the Manokaraka. There you get it. Now, the bigger aspect is, if you look at moon, the speed of the moon, it is like 15 days, it is up, 15 days, like 15 days you see a full moon, after 15 days you don't see a moon, right?
Yeah.
And the speed of the moon is the fastest amongst all the celestial bodies which we consider in astrology.
Yeah.
Here, moon travels 12 degrees a day.
Right.
That is the speed of the moon. And if we actually do our calculation, it touches all the 27 nakshatras in a month.
Correct.
Now, this is exactly what was told by our sages in a different story format, that the moon used to go to all the 27 wives, but stayed maximum with Rohini.
Yeah.
And that is exactly the fundamental which you are talking about, which our viewers and listeners should do some research on, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, the moon is traveling to all 27 nakshatras in a month. Now we have our every day, like a day will start, a day will end, a day will start, a day will end. Got it. Now, every day when it starts, specific power in it. And there is a concept called as Hora, which I'm not going to talk about in detail now, because we are going to cover that in the other aspects when we are discussing more. It requires a much more deeper discussion. But right now, if we look at it from a broad perspective, there are different horas in a day. Every day, a different hora starts, and the cycle ends after 7 days. And then again, it starts from the same one. And this is because of this why our days are named as they are. So in English, we have our days as Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Very good. No problem. Look at it how our sages connoted these days. Ravivar, that is Sunday. Ravi means sun. That means the sun hora is the most powerful on that day. Somvar is moon. Monday. Som is moon. And moon's power is the most powerful in that day. Moon's hora.
Yes.
Then you have Mangalvar, that is Mangal. Mangal means Mars. Mars hora is the most powerful. Budhvar, Budh means Mercury. That is Wednesday. Mercury's hora is most powerful. Thursday is Brihaspativar or Guruvar, right?
Yeah.
Brihaspati and Guru are the names of Jupiter. Jupiter's hora most powerful. And then you have Friday. Friday is Shukravar. So Shukra is Venus. And then you have Venus out there. So Venus hora is the strongest. And the last one is your Saturday. Shanivar. Now Shani, we don't need to explain. Everybody knows what is Shani. Shani Dev, right? Saturn. So Saturn hora is the strongest. And look at it. 7 days, 7 celestial bodies which have mass. They have their strongest hora. None of the days are attributed to any celestial point which does not have mass, or it is a mathematical point.
Yes.
That was the geniusness of the science of these guys when they actually put in the terminology and the science behind everything.
Yeah.
It is just fantastic.
Correct. Yeah. So one interesting point you made, just before discussing the concept of hora, right? You talked about moon moving 12 degrees every day.
Yeah.
So that is actually the concept of tithis.
Exactly.
Tithi. Yeah.
So we have our days, 7 days a week, but now look at it from the aspect of the detail which these guys have done. That there are 12-degree movements of a moon in a day, and there will be X number of tithis, so which you can throw more light on.
Yeah. So we have 14 tithis, right? right? So the concept of tithi is, it is actually derived from the angle between earth, moon and the sun, the reference angle between the earth and sun and the moon. So take the example of amavasya, right, which is a new moon day. The moon is
Yeah.
not visible.
Yeah.
It's a straightforward science concept that the moon is exactly between the earth and the sun, right? So it is 0 degrees. It is not visible. And
Correct.
exactly opposite, earth in between moon and sun, it is full moon day or Purnamashi, right? It is 180 degrees here, right? It's
Correct.
right on the opposite.
Yeah.
So if it moves 12 degrees, like every day, right? So from Pratipada, okay? Pratipada, again, 12 degrees, right? Every single
Correct.
day it moves. And 40, after 14 days, it comes under Purnamashi, right?
Yeah.
This
180
is
degree.
the 180 degrees, right? This is the waxing moon,
Correct.
right? And the exact opposite, like moon coming from the full moon day to the new moon day, right? Purnamashi to Amavashi. Amavasya is the concept of waning moon.
Correct.
Waxing moon is called Shukla Paksha.
Right.
Waning moon is called Krishna Paksha. Shukla
Correct.
means fair.
Correct.
Krishna means dark.
Dark.
Right? The concept of waxing moon and the concept of waning moon.
And
right?
These are so important things when you start looking at the signs and the charts and understanding the things. If you have a clarity behind why it's happening, it becomes very easy for you to grasp other things.
Yes. So based on what tithi a person was born in, a lot of things are described about that person.
Correct. And there is a particular path that person will take, a particular destiny a person will have when we look at that tithi. Very true.
Yes. Yeah. So a small example is that there is a tithi lord for every tithi, right?
Yeah.
Based on the tithi lord, the kind of relationships a person goes through in life is derived, right?
Exactly.
We will get,
and we will talk about this later
depth.
in the other episodes when we are actually talking about tithis and specific things. We will talk about these, but our viewers and listeners should be not only able to understand, but they should know that these things are coming.
Yes, yes, correct.
Because we have a lot of things planned and a lot of things are coming up. So we will certainly make sure that our viewers get the best of not only the knowledge, but best of the practicality behind all these things. We will talk about this later.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great.
So
now see,
apart from
you have spoken about full moon, you have spoken about new moon.
Yeah.
Got it. And moon is a celestial body, which is actually a satellite, but it is actually a celestial body which impacts us.
It impacts us.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, this also means that what we term as planets, the 7 celestial bodies which have mass and 2 celestial bodies which don't have mass, they are mathematical points, right? But there are, amongst those 7, we have 2 which we do not consider as planets in our definition, in our today's definition. One is the sun and one is the moon. One is a star, one is a satellite, right? Can we throw some light on this? That why would this happen? Why would they take this and term everything as together, and what do they mean by that? What that term means?
Yeah. So we often get confused between what a planet and what a graha is, right?
Correct.
Graha
our sages termed it as graha, right? Our sages termed it as graha. They never said planets.
Yes. Yeah. In astronomy, they are planets. There are planets, right? So graha, the word, is derived from a term called grihnati, right?
Correct.
Which actually means something that can seize or capture.
Yeah.
Right? So out of all the celestial objects, okay, the object that seizes and hence has an influencing effect on us are grahas. Right?
So these are the celestial objects which will actually impact our lives.
Yes.
In one simple line. And thus, a star, a satellite, 5 celestial bodies which have mass, and 2 mathematical points comprise of everything which our sages calculated, which are very important for us and our lives. This is amazing.
Yeah. At the same time, the word planet, okay, it in Greek, it actually means a wanderer.
Yeah.
So what they are referring to is planet is an object which revolves around the sun. So
Always
grahas
in
and
motion.
planets differ this. Yes.
Always in
Always
motion.
in. Yes. That is the difference. Right.
And,
So now that
and
we
if
have discussed
and if
grahas here.
and if you look at it, a planet is a celestial object which has a constant motion. Got it?
Yeah.
On the other hand, a graha is a celestial object which actually has an impact on us.
Yes.
All these 9 celestial bodies and mathematical points, they are always in constant motion. Thus, we can certainly say that this is a planet. But what happens is, since our childhood, we have understood planets as planets, which is there, on which you can
the
land.
planets in the solar system. Yeah.
And the solar system. Thus, the difference of thought process comes in. And when we term Rahu and Ketu, or North Node and South Node, and a sun and a moon together in this entire journey, we start questioning that, oh my God, if a planet is like that, then how are we terming it as planet? Because the definition of a planet is not that definition which we think from our childhood. The definition is something which keeps on wandering.
Yes. You're talking about the grahas here.
Yeah. So this is superb. I think our viewers and listeners would have had a revelation in the last 5 minutes, because this is extremely interesting.
It is.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
We have discussed about moon being the manokaraka, right? The kind of impact that it has. So the next most important graha that we can discuss today is sun.
Obviously.
Right? Yeah.
The life giver.
It is the Jivkaraka.
It's Jivkaraka.
Yeah.
Life giver.
There is no life without sun. Sun represents the life and also the soul.
Yeah.
Right. So in Sanskrit, right, it's Surya. Surya, it is the Jivkaraka and it's also the Arogya Karaka.
Correct.
Yeah. Sun is also called Arkaha. It's Arka is a very famous Bengali name. It's a very common Bengali name in Bengali households.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So it actually means Arka. So Arka is also the representation of a butterfly milkweed. Yeah, it's a flower. Our viewers can actually Google what it is. So Radha Saptami has just passed, like this week, right? A few days ago. Radha Saptami is the birth day of Lord Sun, and also scientifically, it is the day that actually sun picks up some momentum in the Uttarayan. Okay, so on that day, there is a sun remedy that people used to follow, rather. Correct. Right? People used to take the Arka leaves and take bath with them.
Correct.
Yeah, so that people can prepare for the heat that follows in coming summer.
True.
Yeah.
Very true. And it is totally scientific, because Arka leaves have that quality.
Yes.
So it is totally scientific. It is nothing like, I think Arka is good, let us use it. It doesn't follow like that. There is a reason behind it.
Yeah. Right. So at the same time, sun in our stones is represented by ruby.
Correct.
Ruby, because according to our solid state mechanics, if a ruby is energized, it actually emits rays just like the sun rays, a mini version of sun rays.
Exactly.
That is why if you want to
those particular frequency and the properties of those sun rays.
Yes, right. Exactly. So if people want to improve their sun, that is why wearing a ruby is.
Yeah. And
prescribed.
So right? Deepak, here I'm going to pitch in and speak about one small thing. So as you mentioned, improving the sun. Got it. So our
Yeah.
viewers and listeners, I think this is the correct time to tell them that what does this improving the sun mean? Got it. See, what happens is when our body is made from Panchbhut or the five elements, all these five elements are governed by all the celestial bodies which have impacts on us. Now, there will be some imbalance of elements or the proportioning of elements in our body. And thus,
Yeah.
those particular deficiencies are what we described as sun is weak or moon is strong or Mars is weak or Mercury is strong.
Yeah.
Now,
We need
when
to maintain that balance in the
we
body.
need to maintain that balance. And when we talk about a ruby emitting sun type of rays, so our sages found out that if you use ruby, if you actually put it on your body in either the form of a ring or something, the rays itself, when they enter the body over a period of time, it actually keeps on improving the balance of that element which sun actually impacts in your body. So thus you better your sun, and that is what is meant by bettering the sun, and not that you put sun in your body. So that is how the entire difference goes. It's important that our viewers and listeners understand this concept, because later on we are going to discuss a lot of things anyway.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Kabir. And also, sun, right? It represents the spinal cord in the body.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and what is the best way to keep your spinal cord healthy? It is the sun
Surya Namaskar.
salutation, Surya Namaskar. Yeah. And look how everything is related here. Like we
True.
started with astronomy, like different celestial objects, and we
Yeah.
all mapped everything to coming down till Surya Namaskar here. And one more interesting point.
Yeah.
Sun, we all know about photosynthesis, right? I don't think we need to go in detail about it, right?
True.
Yeah, we eat, all fruits and vegetables which get the prana out of sun.
Yeah.
Those are actually what gives us the energy in the body,
Very true.
which is actually given by the sun. And these days, we are actually listening to a very common problem of deficiency in vitamin D.
Vitamin D, and from vitamin D, you will have deficiency of B12. From B12, you
Yeah,
will have another deficiency. So vitamin D is your main, and that vitamin D comes from sun.
sun.
All doctors
Our celestial.
prescribe you to go and walk, have a sun bath or walk in the sun, be in the sun for
Yeah.
as much as you can when you have a vitamin D
Yes.
deficiency. As simple
Yes.
as that. So
Yeah.
nothing is there in the air. Everything is scientific, logical, interrelated, explained extremely well in our Vedas and this entire divine science written by our sages. Only thing is
Yes.
that we need to go in and actually try to understand it. If you understand, a lot of things will be much more clear.
Yeah.
We discussed
That's brilliant, right? I
so
mean,
many
how our
things.
sages gave us in terms of stories,
Yeah,
mythological stories, right? I mean, and the way of encrypting all these statements,
statements.
all verses, it unveils a lot of new knowledge, right?
Exactly.
A lot of
And
secrets, hidden secrets.
hidden secrets. And we are calling it as hidden secrets because we don't know.
Yeah.
For them, it was all evident, and that's how they have framed the ways of life. They tell you
Yes.
to wake up in the morning, go for a morning walk,
Yeah.
right? Don't get angry. Anger does not solve problems.
Yeah.
And we are going to anyways talk about a lot of these things in the next episodes. I'm not going to, keep on talking about it right now because those are the things which are coming up. But example, take Tulsi for an example. You search the word Tulsi in Google and you will see that the photosynthesis is of a special type. And because of that, the Tulsi plant can give oxygen for 20 hours in a day.
Yeah.
Thus, it is always recommended, please have a Tulsi at home. Ensure that you
Yes.
water it properly. The bigger the Tulsi, the better it is for you because it's
Yeah.
giving you oxygen for the entire 20 hours in a day.
Yeah.
Like that, there are so many things. Obviously, the thing which I told you before also, that our sages were very, very intelligent to not talk about the technical aspects because everybody could not understand it. They put it in the form of stories. They put it in the form of way of life, mantras, and they gave it to us. It's totally up to us how we want to take the benefit from it.
Yes, that's correct. So, like we discussed about mantras, right? So it is ultimately money, mantra, or aushadha.
Correct.
For each particular graha, as we were discussing about the negative or positive effects.
Yeah.
This is a way prescribed by our sages to actually improve everything in our body. Mani, mantra, or aushadha.
Correct. And we are going to talk about this in detail in the later stages when we are actually talking about the grahas themselves.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Which is good. I think in today's session, our viewers would have and listeners would have got a bit more awareness of what we tried to start from the previous session, because this awareness is extremely important to go ahead and grasp what we are going to tell everybody. Right? We are not going to give any gyan. We are going to give you practical examples, practical things, so that you understand and appreciate and use this particular knowledge and science for your own benefits. It's as simple as that.
Yes.
This is great. Anything else we want to cover today? Because I don't want to, overburden our viewers and our listeners with a lot of things, because there are very important facts which you have spoken about, Deepak. And in our discussion, few more important facts came out, which if anybody listens to and start thinking, they will start thinking a bit differently from today.
Yeah, absolutely.
So do we want to?
I think we can stop here and probably continue in subsequent episodes. If viewers like to know something in detail, they could drop in a comment so that we can discuss in detail in the next episode.
Exactly. The comments are there, so you can put your comments here. But before moving forward or ending the session, I would really want to tell one thing to everybody, that in the next session today we told you that why this divine science is a science, because it has logic, it has explanation, and everything is interrelated. But next time we are also going to tell you that why this science is actually not only a science, it is an art. Because you need logic there too, but there is another sense of things which you require to actually get the most out of this. So that will be another interesting discussion next week when we are going to have it. For now, we will end the session. The request to all viewers and all the listeners is that if you have any questions, comments, please do write in the comments. We have our website where you can go there, www.edu-astro.com. It's coming on the screen too. And you can email us at contact@edu-astro.com for any queries, for any consultations, for any courses, or any ways of improving lives which you want to. And at the same time, please do subscribe to our channel, YouTube channel, our blog, visit our website, and there is no dearth of social media ways in which you can reach to us. You can reach to us by Facebook or Instagram also at the same point of time, right? So it was a fantastic discussion, Deepak, today, and really things have started coming out. I'm very confident that from the next session onwards, when we start the art and then we move into the other technical and the most important practical aspects of this science, we are going to ignite a lot of fuel or questions from our viewers, and we'll see a lot of participation or whatever we call it. But we are really looking forward to that entire journey.
Absolutely, Kabir. I'm looking forward to all of that.
Super. Great. Thanks a lot, Deepak. And with that, bye-bye. See you next week. And thank you all for listening in and viewing the video. Please do like, share, and subscribe. That's a very big motivator for us.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
you, Kabir. See you soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.